So now it's my pleasure to welcome dear Priyanka Gill. Gill, is that correct? Founder and CEO of POPxo-Plixxo, co-founder and president of MyGlamm. Priyanka, welcome, and your topic will be how to effectively use social media for personal branding.
Hi, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Olga, for reaching out. And it's amazing. This is a beautiful way to spend a Saturday afternoon. And thank you all for joining. I'm going to quickly just share my screen, and I'm going to present this little presentation that I have. Just give me one moment. I think the professional brand is something that's extremely important. I also think that women in particular don't end up actually doing so much work on their professional brand. And that is something that costs us in the long run. And this is something that I'm very passionate about. And this is something that I'd like to actually make a difference. I talk about this all the time to my team, which is mainly female. And I just wanted to take you guys through that. So just a quick on myself. I am the founder and CEO of a digital media company called POPxo and an influencer marketing platform called Plixxo. I'm also currently doing my exec MBA from LBS and Columbia Business School. So it's a busy time for me right now. And yeah, I've been doing this for close to 8-9 years. And over this time have built with my team several large platforms, POPxo and Plixxo, where we have millions of people who come to our platforms every month. And I've also started to do some work on my own personal branding as well, so which is where I actually got this idea of the professional brand. So firstly, it's important to think about what is a professional brand, right? And why is it actually so important? Most times we let other people decide who we are because we don't control what we are saying out there. So this professional brand is your story. It is who you are. It is what do you stand for, and it gives you control back of the narrative. It tells you what is important, and you're able to articulate that to everyone else out there, right? And there's several things that actually make up your professional brand, and it's a lot of things that actually make it up. It's your LinkedIn, your resume. It's how you answer the question, what do you do? Most of us tend to fumble on that. Most of us don't have a set answer to that. And having a very strong answer to that and a consistent answer you give every single time is basically your professional brand, right? It's everywhere that you speak. It's the bios that people refer you at, where it's the bio that you send out when you're a speaker at conferences. All of that kind of makes part of your professional brand. It's literally how you present yourself in a room, how you look, how you articulate yourself. And ultimately, it's what people talk about you when you're not in the room, right? So if you've done a really good job, if your brand is strong, they're going to say exactly what you say about yourself when you're not in the room. And there's several things that actually would impact your brand. And before I kind of go further into kind of breaking down the steps for you, these are questions that you should ask yourself right now. Is it up to date, right? Most of us created a profile many, many years ago, and then we never came back to change it. So over time, who we are has also changed, and we need to go back and update it. Is it consistent? Is what you're saying on LinkedIn the same what you're saying on Twitter? Is it the same on Clubhouse? Or are you saying different things on different platforms? And it should probably not be the case at that point. Is it intentional and meaningful? Right? Most of us, it happens by mistake. We don't think about what we want to say about ourselves. As women, we tend to be very good at talking about work, about what we've achieved in our professional life, in our company, but we are very not good at talking about ourselves. I think taking that ownership and talking about yourself in a proactive manner, that is actually the kind of the essence and the core of what would make up your professional brand. So yeah, it's telling your story effectively across all platforms. It's something that makes you stand out to your clients, to your employers, to people who meet you. And yeah, simply, we don't tend to advocate for ourselves. And this is something that it just has to change. If the previous speaker was talking about how little women participate in the economy, right? All of us who are there, we have to speak up more, talk up more. And this is where your professional brand actually comes into play. So the first how you build it is actually, it's a very simple process, and it's actually a very logical process as well. First is finding your voice, right? It's figuring out who you are and what are you passionate about and what you want the world to see you as. Once you know all those things, you know what your voice is, you know what you want to say. Next, then you think about what are your strengths. Are you a great speaker? Are you a great designer? Are you a great articulator? Are you a great thinker, right? Whatever your strengths are, you need to kind of see whatever's natural to you, and that will form your strengths. And that is basically what will help make your professional brand stronger, right? And the third is you need to decide, where is my audience and where is it sitting? Is it sitting on Twitter, Instagram? Is it sitting on Facebook, Clubhouse, Medium? Is it on LinkedIn? Where is your audience sitting? And then you decide, okay, this is my platform, this is my brand, these are my strengths, and this is what I'm going to do next. That helps you kind of create your plan of action. And how you do it is actually really simple. It's by creating content. All of us are content creators these days, right? Every time we speak, we're creating a form of oral content. When we write something, it's a form of written content. When we share an image, it's a curation, which is also an act of creating content as well. So being able to post content in a consistent manner, in a way that showcases your skills, that is the simplest and the easiest and the most authentic way to start building out your professional brand. And this is actually the most important word. And I think this is the most important word in my life. I try really kind of living by this word called consistent, right? This idea of compounding comes into play when you are immensely consistent with what you do. If you do something every single day, if you do something when you're supposed to do it, that is what actually will add value in the long run. So writing something insightful on LinkedIn one day is not a brand, right? If you do it consistently, thrice a week, people know that she's going to say something that's going to matter. That is what actually helps you build out your brand. Scheduling software if you need it, just being really good at posting when you think you're going to post. And importantly, tracking reaction, right? There's a lot of data that every platform gives you as to how is your piece of content doing, looking at it, seeing what got that outsized reaction that you wanted, and then maybe doing that thing over and over again, changing your plan to reflect what actually gets reaction from people. So along with doing all of this, I think the very important idea is this idea of alignment, of building your network, right? And we don't do it meaningfully. I think networking has kind of gotten a bad rap in the past few years, and I think that is completely wrong. Building a network is building your allies in the world. It's building this group of people, group of women and men around you who are there to support you in what you do. You are there to support them in what they do. And the way you communicate with them is through the work that you do for your professional brand and through the content that you create. So it's basically finding out who are these people that would matter to me, figuring out thoughtful ways to connect with them, not like a blanket cold, but really saying, can I make a meaningful connection with this person? Maybe even looking back at your life and reconnecting with people who you had once met, but you are no longer in touch with. So building out your network very intentionally is extremely important to all of us as professionals. And we don't spend enough time doing this. The other thing is engaging, right? It's a two-way street. Most people, like if I put up a photo, I want people to react to it. But I forget, if I don't react to other people's photos, they're not going to react to mine, right? That idea of meaningful and intentional engagement with other people's content, with your network's content is equally important. And I think for me, the most important thing is to remember that a simple like, comment, share goes a really long way. All of us are doing very, very hard things at the moment. Every time we put out something on our networks, we're expecting some reaction. And if you can just simply go and say, hey, well done, I'm proud of you, it really means a lot to the person, no matter how big, how well-known, how kind of starting out the person is, it really, really matters. I love this idea of celebrating when others win, right? When you do this, that is when you're actually creating this really positive environment. It's a simple thing of saying, hey, well done you, right? And that really means a lot to the person who might be going through her own struggles at that point. But that is actually what helps you build your network. And people remember, right? All of us remember the people who will always be there to comment on things that we say. So make that part of your positive outreach, do it meaningfully, do it with as much authenticity as possible. You do that in alignment with building out your brand, you build out your network, and then you're really positioned strongly as a professional to actually do much better for yourself, right? And the last thing I wanted to add was this idea of patience, right? I think along with consistency, I think patience is a second big word I like to kind of involve in my life, right? I want results yesterday. I mean, and that's me. But this idea of remembering that it all takes time, right? And just because the first thing you put out didn't get the reaction you wanted, don't stop. Keep doing it again and again and again. At some point, it's going to work. So yeah, so I mean, this is a very quick kind of thought on what I think about professional branding. I have some time. I know I would love to take questions, and yeah, I've been trying to do some work on myself as well. I set up my website that talks a lot about this. My blog is coming up. I have a podcast coming out as well. But yeah, I'd love to kind of connect with you all, and would love to kind of discuss this idea of the professional brand with you.
Priyanka, thank you so much. Can I jump? I would like to ask a question.
Sure.
Well, obviously, you've built up an amazing network. You're a specialist of social media and handling. I was so touched by recommendations of being engaged in a positive way. Always congratulate as many people as possible. That's really beautiful. This keeps us in touch with so many people. How would you recommend people who actually and ladies who are still not so knowledgeable about advertising on social media, and if they're quite basic with what they can do, what is the quickest and the easiest way to learn, to progress, and to become better? Can you give some simple tools? Because I think this is something many would like to hear.
Of course. So, social media is actually very simple. Social media is a duplication of how we interact with people in real life. Say you're a school mom and you're going to school for the first time. It's your first coffee morning. How are you going to connect with those mothers? You're going to smile, right? You're going to kind of have this very open kind of visage to the people that you meet. You're going to say, hey, hi, it's good to meet you. I'm so-and-so. My daughter goes to this school. She's in this class. You're giving context, right? So you have to actually do exactly the same thing on social media. Think of whichever space you're trying to occupy as this kind of, it's like a coffee morning that you're going to. And you approach engaging with people in the same fashion, right? This idea of intentionality, the idea of being meaningful, the idea of being present, and the idea of being positive, it goes a really long way. Say you're trying to do, you're starting out on LinkedIn, which is the biggest professional network that we have out there. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You know the people that you might want to engage with. You know that they are creating content. Simply go there and leave a comment that actually is a comment that based on the content that they're creating. And some form of engagement will start. Make a list of the 10 people that you want to engage with and consistently leave messages on their content. Engagement will start. Once you start leaving those messages, you will automatically know what you want to say. Maybe start posting once a week, right? It's baby steps that you have to take. You have to put yourself out there. Social media is just literally the real world, but virtual, right? So yeah, it's not hard. It's again, consistency. It's kind of having that authenticity with what you're posting and being kind of really doing it over a period of time. It's simple. All of us do it. It's almost automatic to us now. But doing it in the professional setting is more important, I feel, than doing it in the personal setting that we all do currently on Instagram. I hope that helps.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my last question before we would have to unfortunately move on, but of course we are going to have more of you a bit later on the panel, even we know your schedule is very limited. Priyanka, what is your personal answer and recommendation for negative comments you might receive on your post on Facebook, on Instagram?
Yes, that happens a lot. I'm kind of two minds. If it's a complete troll, I end up deleting it because I really don't want that kind of negativity around me. I don't even bother engaging with it. If it's someone who has what could be a viewpoint to what I'm saying, and if it's a viewpoint that I would like to engage with, I might take that step, right? But experience has taught me that engaging with someone who comes in with a very fixed negative viewpoint very rarely actually gets you in a good place. But on places like LinkedIn, I've realized you put something up, someone says something that's idiotic, other people will jump in and then they'll kind of be there for you, right? And that usually ends up working. So you can allow a conversation to happen in comments on something that you've said, but without you having to jump in and defend. Very rarely, it's like real life, right? Defending yourself, it usually doesn't work out. You should wait for your allies to actually come in and defend you at that point. But if it's something really rude, lewd, I just delete it. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want people talking about this on my profile, and then you can go with it. But remember, they are cowards and they are faceless trolls, right? And you don't owe them anything. If you don't like it, you can just get it off your profile.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much for all this beautiful presentation and your answers.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to engaging with you all a lot more.